This is Lindy Kaiser with clearancejobs.com, and thank you so much to everyone who is joining us for today's webinar with Booz Allen. We have a great and very ambitious agenda today. We are talking about meeting defense leaders from across the globe who are with Booz Allen. And when I say across the globe, I actually very much so mean it. So from Hawaii to Germany to Connecticut to Colorado, we have a representative here who works for Booz Allen and who is supporting the global defense mission in some really exciting ways. So a few housekeeping notes as we get started. If you are joining us as an attendee, your line is muted. If you have a question though, we encourage you to drop those throughout the call. The folks who are on the line from Booz Allen are here to take your questions and to interact with you today. So just type them into the questions box on the right-hand side of your screen, and we will get to as many of those as we can during the call today. If not, it gives us an opportunity to engage and follow up with you after the webinar. So again, we're going to hear from these folks. Again, encourage you to ask questions, to interact with us. It always makes these a little bit more fun to get your questions coming in. I really appreciate, again, Booz Allen bringing a really ambitious agenda and schedule. And for all of you, I know Dimitri, we don't even know what time it is, past bedtime. He's already had happy hour though, so that's the benefit. I have not. So pros and cons for the folks who are joining us from a different time zone, but appreciate everybody making this happen and making the time. So on that note, I do just want to start by having the panelists introduce themselves. So just tell me a little bit about your role, which team you represent, and how you got your start with Booz Allen. I'm going to start with you, Sarah, on that.
Yep, thank you, Lindy. Sarah Norrie. So I've been at Booz Allen a little over 12 years. When I joined, we were organized a little bit differently than we are today. So I came into what was then our strategy and organization group, now part of our aerospace account, which is part of our global defense sector. And when I joined the firm, I joined out of my MBA and MS program. So I did org design work, a lot of organizational effectiveness, more of that core consulting support that Booz Allen has been providing for over 100 years, really. Over the time that I've been here, so over those 12 years, I have gone in a little bit more technical direction, as has the firm in our account. So moved from doing that kind of process work to doing more business analysis, requirements analysis, working with Air Force clients throughout that time. I now lead an engagement with one of our clients for an enterprise IT system. So my team manages all of the functional requirements, testing, user acceptance, training, implementation, kind of all the support that goes to our airmen along with the implementation of that system. So throughout that journey, became a little bit more technically proficient in some of the agile processes, some of the different data engineering and data science capabilities that we provide. From a firm perspective, I joined Booz Allen as a senior consultant. I'm now a chief technologist, which is our first level of senior leadership. I have a team of about 40 folks, largely in that technical space as well. Involved in the firm in a number of different ways. I know we're going to hit those later. But I always remember before joining Booz, folks would say, how did you kind of get to the place you are in your career? And it was always sort of this meandering path. And I would say, I have sort of followed that same path, but there's always an opportunity to grow and evolve my role. And that's something that I've really enjoyed here and getting to where I'm at.
I love that. Opportunities to grow and evolve in a role, definitely a recurring theme that we always hear from our folks over at Booz Allen. I want to tee to you, Brad, if you're able to kind of comment on that same thing. So talk about your role with Booz Allen and how you got your start in the team that you're currently working on.
Sure. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I know you can't see me. I guess I'm the mystery panel guest here. Apologies for the malfunctioning camera. I've been at the firm for 20 years, and I like to say I've evolved into a program manager in the Navy Marine Corps market. I specifically support the C sub account, which provides support to the NAVC command, which is more or less 5 very large PEOs when you think of the Navy's ships, submarines, carriers, their USC, which is unmanned small combatants, and the integrated warfare system. So very large PEOs in supporting that. So from a market perspective, I am a deputy program manager on about a 300 FTE, the PEO USC unmanned small combatants contract, which is their littoral combat ships. And we bring U.S. Navy essential and evolving, highly technical and transformative work right, with the unmanned systems in particular. It includes strategy, cybersecurity, engineering, data science, AI, ML, DevSecOps. So all the cool stuff that you know, the DoD is moving towards. From a functional capability, though, I lead a data analytics team in support of our market technology group. So this is a group that is comprised of high-end engineering, cyber, software, coding, and my particular team leading is when you think of it, data analytics, it's like data science, data engineering, data visualization, things like that. So basically anything data in it. So that's a very exciting, yes, but really how I got to Booz Allen is kind of the interesting, you know, fish out of water thing. I'm a USAFA grad, so that's United States Air Force Academy, and yet kind of I'm in the Navy. So I've had to evolve and adapt as I've moved forward in my career, which has been great. But it started early. I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to be a pilot. And when I got to the academy, I kept growing, and so I outgrew the height requirements. And any guesses for how high? Put them in the chat for how tall I am. Whoever gets it, I gets a prize. But you know, so I had to adjust, and I had an engineering education, so I got into systems acquisition as a kind of a second choice, and became a cost engineer with the Air Force for launch vehicles and satellite programs. So I still got to do kind of that space thing. Then I later on had the opportunity to work for Lockheed Martin, and then another opportunity, which was what I really wanted coming out of the Air Force, was to work for Booz Allen. I was able to do that in 2003, so there's my 20 years. You know, and all my clients now are U.S. Navy, and I'm doing unmanned systems with littoral combat ships. Very challenging, but an extremely rewarding journey, and love where I'm at today. Over.
I love it. So I will take that. I will take that bet. If anybody wants to comment and guess what Brad's height is, I will send you a Clearance Jobs gift package. I'm not joking. So join the chat.
Right.
Feel free. And I didn't realize. See, it's probably the Navy and the Air Force background. I'm Go Army, so I've sabotaged your camera as a secret squirrel espionage plot here. Same question over to you, Dimitri. Ask you kind of a little bit about your role, your team, and how you got started with Booz Allen.
Sure. Greetings, everyone. Dialing in from Ithaca, Greece, where I'm currently taking vacation with my family. So you could tell by the lack of shave and the casual clothes, but it was a much deserved, much needed vacation. But I was glad to get this opportunity to be one of the panelists here. I'm currently supporting the Europe IMT over in US Command, US Africa Command, Special Operations Command Africa, Special Operations Command Europe, Marine Forces Europe and Africa. So when you think about the most important geographical location right now, given the current state of affairs in the world, this is by far the most important. Yes, Indo-PACOM is trailing closely behind, but I'd say, and I doubt it, you would argue with me that this is by far the most important command at EUCOM, and I currently support EUCOM J3, which, if you think about J3 function, for those of you that come from military backgrounds, it is the heartbeat of any unit, the three. I'm fairly new in this shop. Prior to this, I actually spent about 4.5 years at EUCOM J5, which is the Security Cooperation and Planning. I was the program manager on the Ukraine Security Assistance Initiative program, which is, prior to the war in Ukraine, was by far the largest security assistance packet to any country, not mentioning Israel, because those numbers are not discussed in public. But when you think about the amount of security systems that U.S. provided to Ukraine between 2015 and 2022 and current day, Ukraine security assistance was by far the largest, average about $250 million. So me and another Booz Allen Hamilton program manager were the face of the Ukraine security assistance to Ukraine, working with the country desk officers sitting right here in Stuttgart, Germany. How I got to Booz Allen is really a mystery to me. I spent At the time, I had 15 years in the Marine Corps. I was just coming back from a deployment and getting ready to drop back into the reserves. And I just happened to be to send out my resumes to some individuals. And next thing you know, I had an offer to work in the DC area, and I took it. And since 2014, I started out in the DC area, and here I am in Stuttgart, Germany right now. And I've worked on several teams since, and it's been nothing but a great experience, exciting, very interesting, and very different from what I did in the Marine Corps, where I spent most of my time doing counterintelligence and human intelligence. In the Marine Corps, in the Booz Allen Hamilton team, I've done everything from intel planning to foreign military sales, security cooperations, to now being a joint protection planner within J3 at UCOM. That's all I have, pending any questions, of course.
I love that. And if someone is willing to participate in a webinar on their vacation, that's a good sign that the company culture is good, because you are not willing to do that for your company if you are not happy with your position and you are not happy with what you're doing. So again, same question to you, John Paul. Just talk about your role, which team you're on, and how you got your start with Booz Allen.
Well, aloha to everyone from the land of aloha. I'm here in Hawaii, and I can still reminisce till today. You know, I got a cold call, you know, when I was working at my previous job, and, you know, human resources, this is John Paul Akeo, and the recruiter said, hi, my name is, you know, Chris, forgot her last name, and Chris Thompson, and she said, I would like to talk to you about your career opportunities. And so it was just as unpredictable as that. And here I am 17 plus years later, you know, I went ahead and, you know, accepted the offer within a human resources role. So I've always been in human resources with Booz Allen Hamilton, always supporting our Hawaii business that has literally exploded and grown within the last few months, believe it or not. But by profession, I am a human resources professional, and I'm very proud to be part of the our global defense talent management integrator team. So I do support our Joint Combatant Command, or our acronym is JCC, as the talent management JCC account lead. But I have a great tribe of other colleagues that support our other accounts within our global defense sector. So I'm very fortunate, because as part of my support, even in an HR support role, is you know, here in the Indo-Pacific, our primary client is Indo-PACOM, and we have the largest geography from a Department of Defense perspective, that we help support our clients with their missions and all of the people that we have in our AOR, our area of responsibility. Believe it or not, the Indo-Pacific AOR spans 50% of the Earth's surface. It covers 6 time zones, and it does include 4 of the 5 national defense strategy challenges. So that's kind of a little bit big of an undertaking. But what I love is, you know, we take that all in stride. You know, my everyday is working across 6 time zones. Majority of our workforce, you know, we have about 200 staff that are overseas, and about 300 staff that are based in Hawaii and Alaska. So imagine that, trying to support all of the people in our programs, whereby, you know, we have about 25 plus leaders on our leadership team, 25 client organizations, 5 countries, 55 work locations, and approximately 30 plus Department of Defense contracts that we support across all of our markets and accounts. So, so quite an undertaking, but I think over the past 17 years, you know, one of the things that I was very fortunate to get some lessons learned at the time when I started with the firm. He's since retired, but his name is Chuck Jones. he instilled three really important values. And even as long as I've been with the firm, they kind of resonate today, and I'll share them real fast. So one, he said, hey, John Paul, some things I want to leave you with or instill in you is one, never stop learning and continuing your training. And I think that's true for all of us, right? The training and learning that we engage in the firm comes from so many different sources. We can take formal training, we can take informal through mentorship. The training can be internal, and it can also be outside of the firm. So that's always a constant. The second thing he mentioned is, build your relationships. So I remember when I first started it, I said, how is this little local, boy from Hawaii going to, get engaged and, build relationships with the thousands of staff that make up Booz Allen. As of today, we're 31,000 staff globally. And so, building relationships, I think, has been a great objective. 17 plus years later, I'm very proud with all of the relationships that I've been able to build across, the whole firm-wide. And then lastly, and sometimes our pride gets in the way of it, but, don't be afraid to ask for help. So, one of the things we all cherish here is, sometimes there are some days, if we're helping our clients deal with their toughest problems, you sometimes can't do that all alone. And so, asking for help, part of, being part of the global defense sector from our people services side, everyone is a great tribe in asking for that help. We really collaborate and help each other. And then most importantly, right, when it gets to the point when you don't have to ask for help so much, reciprocate that and, provide the help when others ask from you. So I have really, cherished those three guiding principles, from Chuck Jones, and I try to instill that every day, even till today. So, that's me. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So, thanks.
Thank you so much, John Paul. The same question to you, Chantel. Kind of talk about your role, how you got your start, and what brought you to Booz Allen.
Sure. So again, my name is Chantel, and I'm a recruiter here at Booz Allen, working in our Western Hub. I sit out of Milford, Connecticut, and hit my year mark about a couple weeks ago. So my background is mainly in staffing, but I want to go with a more internal approach. So last year, I started to pursue other opportunities, and that's when I stumbled across Booz Allen. I had a really great interview experience, and this last year has been really awesome for my career growth. So my job is to talk to candidates about opportunities at Booz Allen and to partner with you to make sure that you are prepared for your job search. So later on, I'll be talking to you guys a little bit about the recruiting process and some of the resources we have for you all.
Awesome. I love that. So we want to talk a little bit about what is kind of this global defense thing. I think I know what a globe is. I know what defense is. When we're talking about global defense at Booz Allen, what does that mean? What are key areas of expertise? Maybe kind of talk about career fields and tracks, key skill sets in your position, what you're looking for in your teams, what kind of critical missions maybe you're potentially solving, some of the big problem sets. What are those, get you up and going in the morning problems that you're trying to solve with global defense at Booz Allen? So starting with you again, Sarah, on that question.
Sure. So I would say within aerospace, so my client, the civil engineer, they're really focused on providing that mission platform. So building, maintaining, operating, recovering, whether it's an enduring or an expeditionary installation, really with the goal of enabling the Air Force to meet their broader mission, the fly, fight, win, anytime, anywhere. So in order to do that from an aerospace perspective, we're continuing to provide those those consulting, those core skills that we have, but really, I think aligning a lot of our centerline delivery to those technical differentiated capabilities, right? So advanced software development, the AI/ML capabilities, digital engineering, things that we can use to really accelerate readiness, give that decision advantage to warfighters. And I think a lot of the capabilities, a lot of the skills that we're cultivating, that we're looking to bring in, really align to that technical center line. So I know we've all, thrown out some of these terms before, but kind of the data analytics, all of the development capabilities, anything in kind of the accelerated development space, really everything that we can do to sort of give them that decision advantage, and kind of coupling that with the mission insight that we have to really bring a holistic approach. So I'd say in a very small nutshell, that's what we're looking to do.
I love it. And same question to you, Brad, but first we have to solve the vote of your actual height. So far the votes are primarily 6'10" is the number one vote I've had come in.
What was that number? It blanked out for a second. Six what?
6'7" is people are voting on your height. That's the most popular chat thread we have so far coming in. The questions people are commenting on your height. 6'7".
So yes and no. So here's the beauty of it. When I was in my 20s, and probably early 30s, I was a legit 80 inches, 6'8". Since then, as my kids have grown and we're measuring each other, the height of them, they're like, well, Dad, how tall are you? Oh, I'm 6'8". I'm really only 6'7.5" now. So in my age, I have shrunk. So the correct answer now is 6'7.5", but it was at one point 6'8". So maybe two people.
Nobody got it then. We had 6'6", I had 6'10", but the most votes were for 6'7". I might give it to somebody. We'll see. We'll pretend one of them said 6'7.5". So same question to you, Brad. Kind of talk about global defense. What does that mean within the capabilities you're providing with Booz Allen and your role?
So I think it's really a great question, because it really, to me, it allows me to understand my role as I've evolved in my career from, follower to analyst to leader, and so if you look at, and just talking about my career, I kind of went in a little bit before. Basically an engineering background, got into systems acquisition, particularly I really enjoy numbers. I see things in numbers, and so became a cost estimator. Started working with BFMs, financial management, schedule and risk, right? A lot of the core work that Booz Allen provides to our DoD clients. And then from that, got an opportunity to support the development of a software tool that we had at the firm. Some may remember it, called Polaris. But it really integrated cost, schedule, and risk, as opposed to 3 separate work streams when you're trying to analyze the data for programs acquisition cycles. But within all of that, I kind of got the opportunity to build capabilities, build not just a capability or skill sets, but build tools that clients could use, that we could use, that could be used in other clients, right? So there was a collaboration going across there, and then you find out other people are doing something similar for their clients, and so you really start to build these capability teams, these functional capability teams, which is kind of how we're organized here, right? So it's not just market teams. There's a cross-cut of functional capability. And the data analytics, for example, my particular capability team, right? And as you've evolved, I start to, as we're recruiting and hiring, we're bringing in very smart people who can help us include the latest cutting edge data science techniques, for example. It really helps us, right, evolve our data-driven solutions and recommendations to our clients. And so working across these markets, you get to see all the great people and all the great work that Booz Allen is doing. And this networking, the ability to network, and trust me, it has been hard the last couple of years, in particular 20 and 21, to do that. And to this date, we still have issues with being able to see our clients and teleworking or not teleworking, and people want to, and so we're all still working through that, which is fine, and that's the environment we're in. But Booz Allen does a really good job. It's an extremely large company, obviously, but still does a really good job of making this feel like a small company, right? The communication that we have, the network we have in markets, across markets, in these functional communities, really engenders, this camaraderie, this collaboration we're talking about, and the opportunities that are there for you. They're there every day. It's like a choose your own story book I used to read as a kid. It really is. And the leadership that I've really enjoyed, and I try to exemplify that as a leader today, is really offer those opportunities day in and day out to people who are looking for them to grow their careers. And in doing so, I think it provides all of us really a true education of the business, and all the business we're in at Booz Allen. So, over.
I love that. I love that example, the choose your own, story kind of model, because and also the notion of getting that small company feel. I think the way Booz Allen has kind of does those functional team dynamics really kind of helps foster that, because that's definitely the vibe I've gotten from folks. They feel very connected. There's a lot of, teams rising together and working together. So I love to hear that. And also John Gonzalez officially wins, because he said you got to award it to the closest guess without going over. I feel like that's a Bob Barker reference. I have to get down with that because he recently passed away. So John Gonzalez, you will get a prize pack for getting the closest to the height without going over. So same question to you, Dimitri. Kind of comment on what does global defense mean for your team, your kind of functional unit, and how does that pertain your role with Booz Allen? Oh, did we lose Dimitri to vacation, to Greece? I don't think I'm catching you, Dimitri. You're frozen. I will ask that same question to John Paul. You're next. If we get Dimitri back, we can pivot back to the next question. But for now, John Paul, how would you define global defense? You talked a little bit about it before, kind of Indo-PACOM and some of your mission sets, but kind of maybe more specific to global defense and some of those unique missions that you're doing there.
Sure. So yeah, just to reemphasize, Indo-PACOM is our largest DoD client within all of the Pacific Basin. But some of the areas of expertise that a lot of our consultants are helping our clients with their missions, majority is within the Joint Combatant Command. It's a large defense mission expertise field, and all of the different, subparts of defense mission expertise. We also have a large concentration of intel work, whether that intel work is more, on the, cyber side, intel, in all of the different areas and branches of the military as well. So, there's intel on the Army side, there's intel, in some of the other missions as well. We also have, if we're talking about cyber, it's all of the technological things that come along with that too. And, I like to give reference and some plug for our Chief Transformation Office, or CTO that we call it, because no matter what account or areas of defense that we have, that technical capability runs concurrent through no matter what type of expertise or fields that we have, and we support as we support our clients with their toughest missions. I've been very fortunate to also travel to some of our areas across the Indo-Pacific, primarily Japan, Korea. We have some work that we do in Singapore. We have some work we do in Guam. We also have Australia. And so, in Korea, for instance, we have U.S. Forces Korea. We have the 8th Army there. In Japan, we have U.S. Forces Japan. We have a huge concentration of Marine support that we do in Okinawa. And so, one of the things I love is, I am not I didn't grow up in a military environment, whatsoever, or even on the government service side. But even for being in a people services role, it's so critical to know about what our business objectives are. And, in an indirect way, also knowing, how are we supporting our clients and their mission, because it's all of our consultants who are directly supporting our clients, even though I may be indirectly supporting them through all of our team members and consultants that are there at the client sites working on all the bases throughout the Indo-Pacific. So, you know, in order for me to be really effective as a talent management integrator and part of our people services team, I've been very, I'm glad I've been given a lot of exposure and insights on, you know, a lot of our leaders. Hey, we have this going on, you know, with this particular client and all our staff, you know, going through that, you know, in that work environment. There might be things going on in Korea that's very different from what's going on in Japan, which might be different from what's going on in Singapore, which might be different that's going on in Hawaii. Sometimes there are similar things that might be going on, trends and patterns, but a lot of time it's very unique and different based on where they are across the globe. And so I don't think I'd be very effective as a people services support person if I wasn't given an opportunity to have that knowledge management on, you know, what are some of the challenges that our leaders are facing from the business and the client side. And I think the integration and having that expertise, even in a people services role, it really speaks to what we call our B3 promise. And our B3 promise at Booz Allen is be you, be Booz Allen, and then be empowered. And so we really play the empowerment piece very strongly. And I think that's true no matter, you know, what role or function that you have in the firm. And so, you know, I thought I'd just share that because I really value and appreciate having the ability to understand how our leaders are looking at the business and then taking care of our people who are supporting that business and interfacing with our clients. And I think that's how we play such a critical role back in the enterprise in how we support those goals.
I love that. And I think that I appreciate this topic and having all of you on the call today because we do have a lot of geographic representation here. And that's a question that we get every webinar. Hey, I work in XYZ place. Can I get a job with Booz Allen? I feel like this call kind of represents that flexibility that the firm and the company offers. So again, if you have questions we're going through, type them into the question box. We will get to questions as we can. But I did want to talk a little bit about the geographic kind of anchors that you all have. So what does it look like to work in your region? Are you going into an office typically? What does the team look like that you're around? Are any of you in one of those 100% remote roles or capacities? Kind of what kind of flexibility is there and what drew you to your region? Like, were you hired to work in that region? Did you move there for the company, for a position? Kind of talk a little bit about those geographic anchors because I know each of you here are representing a lot of different locations. So I'll start with you, Sarah, on that.
Sure. So I'm in Colorado. My client's actually in San Antonio, and my team is spread all over the country. So from a project perspective, one of the kind of byproducts, we've been with this client for about 10 years, 15 years total, about 10 for me, is they've actually bounced around organizationally and geographically in terms of where their leadership sits. So Booz Allen, they've wanted to keep us with them for that entire time. So they have given us the flexibility to really be in sort of this hybrid model, even pre-COVID, where we had folks who are kind of dispersed, and then we travel them when we need to meet with them. Sitting in Colorado, though, in aerospace, obviously we have a large client presence here. So Department of Air Force, now Space Force bases, we have Buckley, Peterson, Schriever, a lot of mission activities going on, obviously. So we do have a number of folks who sit in this geography, who are going on client site or working in SCIFs and doing some of that cleared work. I would say we have a lot of opportunities now, more so post-COVID, that we're seeing where clients are giving us the flexibility where, unless that role really requires that on-site presence, that there is more flexibility in terms of where you're working from and, traveling in as you need to. For me personally, I travel to San Antonio a couple of times a year. We do have a local Aurora office that sometimes I'll go into and meet with other folks who are on my admin team, even if they're not on my project team, just to connect with those folks locally. But it gives you kind of these different layers of connection. So if you're not in a location where you're necessarily co-located with your client, you still have the opportunity to connect with other folks at Booz who are supporting other work. So I think in some places, our clients are still kind of striking that appropriate balance. But overall, we've given people as much flexibility as sort of the mission allows. And I think done a good job of kind of balancing that, where we have to meet in person and where there's benefit, bringing folks together, and where we are able to have more of that flexibility, giving folks the flexibility to really work and live where it makes sense for them.
Awesome. And then same question for you, Brad. Kind of talk about, your geographic center. Where are you working? What are the benefits of that? What kind of flexibilities or engagement, and what, how has Booz Allen supported you in that specific location?
It's been great. I'm in Washington metro area, so Washington, D.C. In fact, I'm sitting right now in the office in downtown D.C., right across from National Stadium. So it's a built-up area, very, very cool place to work from. And I do know a lot of our staff live in DC. But more so the question, we have that kind of hybrid environment right now. They're not enforcing, and the contracts here, they're not enforcing any type of telecommuting clauses on our contracts. So they're more or less allowing us to continue, and the government, their own staff, to continue to telecommute, work from home. And so our decision really was, at least on my contract, was really allowed to be driven by our clients. The clients want you to come in for meetings or this or that, and do it. And if you can't, let's figure out a way. We'll back them and support them with that, and we have. But for the most part, the clients have been great. They kind of, those with the staff have agreed upon schedules. All right, we'll come in on Tuesday, or we'll come in on Thursday, or we'll do a half day here, whatever. So that's good. A large percent of our staff across the U.S. will try to do it. And I remember we were trying to avoid this when the COVID started, but we were trying to avoid meetings both in person and video, like virtual. But I would say that we and the government are very good at this. We can have meetings where there's 10, 15 people in a room, but then there's 15, 20, 30 people calling in. So we've got pretty good at that. But just to segue into Washington, D.C., I know there's a lot of great places across this country that are vacation destinations, more so than D.C. is, I guess, even though it may be. To me, D.C. is kind of like Hollywood, right? For the entertainment industry. I mean, every big player, the federal government, the Pentagon's here, industry, they're all here in the D.C. metro area. And so my whole thing is, if you can make it here, it's that old adage from New York, if you make it here, you can make it anywhere. And this is why I wanted to pivot on that point, because while it is a competitive environment, what I have found, and trust me, I have moved around. I lived in San Diego and Los Angeles, supporting the systems acquisitions out there. Got a chance to move back here in 2011 to DC, which is really where I'm from, grew up. But while it is that competitive environment, what I've seen with Booz Allen is it's so collaborative. People want you to do so well. There's such a great sense of leadership, that wants everyone to succeed. It's a sense of team, and really kind of wants to develop and protect their own. And so one of the great mottos, and I heard John Paul kind of reference this earlier, is really the great mottos I've heard and I try to live by is really, if you need help, ask for it. And if someone asks you for help, give it. And that is something I think, if we're going through our core, what we believe in, to me, that is one of the ethos I live by, really is if you need help, ask for it. And if someone asks you for it, give it. And I just, we can't help but be passionate about our mission as a company and aligning that to the mission of our clients, and really understanding that our success is driven in part by making sure all of the staff, from the new guy to the veteran female, right? It doesn't matter. Everyone is contributing. Everyone's helping each other out. And we really are truly a team and not individuals. Over.
I love that. DC, NADSEC Hollywood. There you go. I like that. We're going to make that into a t-shirt as well.
Yeah, it has the same traffic as well. It has the same traffic.
We'll make that a part of our package. So I want to talk to you, Dimitri. I think I see you on the line. So if you're able to chat, if not, maybe we'll punt. We also had Kevin say enjoy Greece. He doesn't know why you're on this call right now because Greece is lovely. So again, you're getting a shout out from Kevin. But Kevin also teed you a little bit, said, hey, I've worked previously in UCOM and AFRICOM, have that experience. What does it take to get on the Booz Allen team within those missions? So maybe you can talk about your geographic area. And then if you do have tips for an applicant who maybe especially comes with military background in those areas, are you looking folks with that military background who then want to apply that to Booz Allen and again, return to those great locations that you have served in different capacity previously?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Once again, I apologize. I can't control the connection here in Greece. So yes, to speak to the most common questions that we get over here on the Euro team. Yes, the firm does move you here to Germany, as well as UK or Italy or anywhere else where we have work supporting clients. So the firm moved me here in 2018, and I started with the AFRICOM team. Now, why have I stayed here since 2018? It's because I really believe in the mission that UCOM has and AFRICOM has. By far, the amount of work that we do and the policy that we implement that's passed down to us from higher is unmatched. I can't think of another combat command where we do such a huge difference. And the quality of people that we have over here, experience combined. If you look at the Booz Allen Hamilton team here in Stuttgart, Germany, we have team members across every organization and every directorate within UCOM and AFRICOM, from J2 intel support to J3 operations to J4 logistics, J5 security cooperation, J6. The people that come out here are highly talented, extremely sharp, and highly driven individuals. And the ability to engage with those individuals on a day-to-day basis. Every day I learn something new from team members, not just from clients who are also extremely capable. And there's a reason why they all get assigned to come over here. It's because those individuals are highly capable individuals with a lot of potential and a lot of proven potential as well. But majority, and I will discuss the telework option because that's another question that's frequently asked. Unfortunately, here at the Stuttgart area, as well as in Molesworth, where we have a lot of our intel support, because the client requirement is TSSCI 95% of the time, and the type of work that we do and the nature of the work that we do is classified, remote or telework is not an option for 95%, at least 95% of the staff. Yeah, I mean, and you can imagine that during COVID, that was a little bit of a challenge, but still people came in and made the mission happen. The ability to be in Europe, so I'll talk to the personal side of being here in Europe. The ability to be in Europe, when you think about your average American family, right? They usually wait until retirement to travel to Paris or travel to Greece. Being on the Europe team, that is something that you could easily do over the weekend. I mean, Stuttgart is less than 2-hour drive away from France, Belgium, Poland, Austria. You could get there easily by car, or you could hop on a cheap flight and within an hour or 2 hours be in a completely different country, enjoying beautiful beaches like I am in Greece right now. So the ability to be in the heart of Europe and the quality of life that it offers, especially Germany, where the quality of life is really great. is one of the best incentives for me outside of the client delivery and the type of people that I work with. And of course, there's also financial benefits to being a U.S. employee working overseas. There are, which I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't speak. I can't speak intelligently about this. Besides what.
I think we lost you. I think you're trying to give financial advice, Dimitri, and the universe decided no. I'm gonna put it over to John Paul with the same question, but I appreciate that. We've had several questions come in. I'm sure the Booz Allen team is going to follow up because everybody wants to come work with you, Dimitri. So it was good that you clarified that they cannot work remote and go to hang out at the beaches at Athens and during the workday. But there are opportunities there, and I think like I said, some of the comments are coming in. I think if you have a military background, if you have previous experience, showcase that, highlight that. I think that has to be a value add for folks who are looking to move and work and serve in those missions. So same question to you, John Paul. Can I talk about your regional focus? What are some of the benefits to your role with Booz Allen and your specific location and the support you get there?
Yeah, I give a lot of kudos to Dimitri because it's very parallel over on this side of the globe here in the Indo-Pacific. Very similar to what Dimitri said. Almost 95% of all of our staff do work on client site, and given the mission, right? Part of that mission is, what are we protecting, right? America's most valuable asset is our country. So while there might not be a lot of hybrid or telework types of opportunities, just because of how critical that mission is with our DoD clients in the Indo-Pacific, think also of the geography, right? Some of our threats are within the Pacific Rim Basin, right? You have Russia, you have North Korea, you have China, as well as Taiwan. Those are some areas of interest that the DoD is constantly monitoring. And I think it's pretty cool, right? We are part of that DoD mission in whatever, those safeguard strategies and tactics are. And if that doesn't give you kind of another perspective of how much appreciation I've learned and grown with all of our team members that are supporting our clients with those very critical and important missions. But just like there in Europe, within the Pacific Rim Basin, Japan and Korea is where we have primarily all of our staff are, and where our primary clients are. But we do have work that we're doing in Australia. There's Guam, there's Singapore on top of that. So just think of all those areas within the South Asian area there. That offers some travel opportunities too. Very near in those areas is Vietnam, there's Thailand, Malaysia, just to give you kind of a cross section of the section. Very important, we have something called export control. So, when you're going to another foreign country, whether it is for work or you may have some opportunity to do some R&R, we do have some safeguards just to ensure that, we are abiding and keeping within, some compliance and the guardrails anytime we are in a foreign country. And I think that's true no matter where we are doing work globally overseas. But one thing I wanted to add to what Dimitri was saying is, and going back to that question, for a lot of for the positions that we recruit for, we know that all of you, if you are in either a government service or whichever branch of the military, that might be your first career. And we thank you, for your service in that. But at the point where, hey, I think I'm going to retire now, you may have had a very rewarding and successful career there. Well, guess what? If you want your second career, hey, how can I be a consultant back to that branch of service that I, committed to? That's where we can come in. And so if you have any type of that mission expertise, wouldn't it be great? You can come back and be a consultant to the very branch of service that you did your time in. We have here at Booz Allen, we have a very strong diversity, equity, and inclusion as part of our the veins that runs through our bloodstream. And part of that is we have what we call a business resource group that does focus on veterans and those who have had from the military. So, for whoever asked that question, we definitely would be interested to see how could we maybe utilize, whatever your military career has been, and not only necessarily back in the States, because we have all types of opportunities and things that we're doing for DoD across the globe. It's really a matter of, where would you be willing to be mobile to, and then we can see if we can meet you in the middle and help meet our mission and business needs, but also maybe help meet any aspirations you may have as well.
And I think that company culture is super valuable and definitely something that Booz Allen is known for, and a big key feature that attracts candidates because they want to find a place, especially if you transition out of the military, having some flexibility, having an employer that you can stick with who can offer you some different geographical diversity in terms of where you want to land. Booz Allen has a lot of opportunities there. I want to make sure I get to you a little bit, Chantel. We've had a few questions come along kind of the candidate application piece of it. So Hope commented, said, hey, I've had a few friends recommend that I apply for positions. I've looked myself on the site and haven't necessarily found a direct match. Do you have any advice there? So maybe kind of talk a little bit about the candidates, acquisition, onboarding journey here. And if you're somebody like that, what's the best way to look for jobs, find positions, network with recruiters, all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So at Booz Allen, we tried to create a recruiting approach that is centered around the candidate experience. So during this journey, candidates have shared with us that the most important part of the process to them is transparency and strong relationships throughout the process. So this slide has a really great visual of what to expect on your journey with us and what teams you'll be interacting with throughout the process. This is also on our website if you guys want to refer back. So I'm sure many of you have already checked out our career site and have noticed you can filter positions through function, keywords, clearance, location, any remote, hybrid, or on-site opportunities you're looking for. Pretty much whatever you are looking for, you should be able to go on our career site and search for that. So if you see a position that aligns with your skills and you're interested in it, we encourage you to apply. Each application is reviewed by our recruiting team, and if there is a match, that recruiter will reach out to you and start a career discussion. So if you are going through our openings and you don't see anything that fits your needs, we highly recommend you join our talent community page. Here you can share more details about what you're looking for at Booz Allen, and we can provide you with direct updates about upcoming events, personalized job alerts, and other resources to assist you in your search. So believe me, we understand looking for jobs can be a daunting task. So we've tried to centralize our resources to hopefully provide an enjoyable experience and give you the best opportunity to succeed as a candidate with us at Booz Allen. So on our careers page, you'll also find links to more details about the candidate experience, interview tips, benefits information, anyone transitioning from the military, and other resources to help you as a candidate. So we hope that you ultimately take advantage of these resources and apply and interview and hopefully onboard with us.
Awesome. I love it. I think we definitely have some interest. We had some great comments come in and folks asking kind of, again, just general tips for the application process. Again, everybody wants Dimitri's job as usual. A few people want John Paul's job as usual. You are going to have to go to the, I think that's a good caveat though, too, because I think sometimes we get that, folks want to relocate to a certain location. It's good to know those expectations of what you're looking for in terms of flexibility, spread of, remote work. And Booz Allen is really transparent and upfront, about those. We are at time as the hazard of having so many people on the line, but I so appreciate everyone who joined us today, who took the time out of your schedules and your calendars to make this webinar work. I think there were some really great nuggets that we got from the conversation today. Again, key takeaways: regardless of where you're located, Booz Allen has an opportunity for you. You see kind of all of the experience that these people bring to the table. We have decades of experience, and I think that geographic mobility is a key to it. You can really find a key role. You can dig in, and you can, get some valuable feedback, and find the ability to grow your career, and really make an impact. So appreciate all of these folks, again, representing Connecticut, Colorado, Stuttgart, and Hawaii, showing the breadth of opportunities that they have at Booz Allen. So check out their site, follow Chantel's advice there. Again, we'll provide a recap and provide information to the folks who are on this webinar and call today so they can get more feedback and information about careers at Booz Allen. And with that, again, I appreciate everybody's time and thank you for being a part of it.
Mahalo, aloha, and mahalo.